What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another DIY video. Today's video is actually our first DIY for my new, to me at least, my new Porsche 992 Carrera S. And if you guys weren't aware, I just recently picked up this car here as a replacement to the British Racing Green G80 M3 that I had. And the mods are already starting to kind of roll in here. So I'm gonna try to take this build a little bit slower than usual, but you guys know how that kind of goes. But today we're gonna be doing a simple modification. Today's video is actually sponsored by Kies Motorsports, so huge shout out to Brian and the team over there at Kies for sending out today's video, which is going to be wheel spacers. We're gonna go ahead and correct some of this fitment. As you guys can see, it's kind of sunken in here on the stock wheels, and we're gonna kind of fix that in today's video. So let me show you guys what we got.
All right, guys, so we've got wheel spacers here, as I mentioned, again, from Kies Motorsports. So huge shout out to Brian and the team over there. So these are going to be 5x130, specific for the Porsche. And we've got two different sizes here. So you'll see here on the side that we've got 12 millimeter here and a 15 millimeter here. And what I like about these is the quality, which I'll show you guys here, and the fact that they actually come with extended wheel studs. So that's a great thing to have here. And as you guys can see, here's what they look like. Super nice. And I actually like this little built-in feature here. You see this little silver part here. This actually allows this to push up against the wheel. And when you're screwing this in, it's not going to rub and, you know, create any damage on your wheels. So super nice. Nice extended lugs. And again, if you are putting wheel spacers on, you know, typically anything above like, you know, a 10 mil is going to require those extended wheel studs. And here are the actual spacers itself. Again, these are the 15 mil, and you'll see that they're super nice, high quality. Has a nice Kies logo on there. It tells you it's 5x130, 71.6 center bore, 15 mil, made of T6 7075 aluminum. So they're nice and lightweight, and they do have the little notches back here, you'll see. So just in case for some reason these happen to get stuck to your rotor, you can actually wedge, you know, a screwdriver or something of that nature in between here, between your rotor and the spacer to get them off. And I've got some other little hacks to get these off as well, but we're gonna be using some anti-seize, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But this should be a nice little setup here. So we're actually gonna be running the 15 mils in the front and the 12 millimeter spacers in the back. And again, here's kind of a close-up of what they look like. And everything's super nicely packaged. The spacers here are nicely boxed in this really nice box from Kies Motorsports. And again, if you're looking to purchase a set of these, I'll have a link in the video description below, but definitely check out kiesmotorsports.com for anything for your Porsche or BMW. All right, so first things first, jack up the car. So this car is a pretty stiff chassis, so I'm actually able to lift up the entire side here just by putting my rolling jack here on the rear. Just make sure that you are jacking this up from the designated jacking point underneath the car here. And obviously both wheels are now off the ground. So at this point, we can do our usual thing here. It's gonna be a 19 mil, and then if you've got a wheel lock like I do, make sure to use the wheel lock on your designated lug there, and go ahead and take this all off. So as you guys can see, very simple, especially with an impact there. I'm gonna take this opportunity to kind of do a wheels off detail and clean the barrels and things like that, clean the calipers, and just tidy things up. And then I'll come back to you guys when I'm ready to put spacers back on. All right, so ready to put the spacers on. I'm gonna use some Permatex anti-seize lubricant here. And I'm just going to put it right here directly onto the rotor itself to prevent any type of things getting stuck here. So I'm just gonna put it on. Don't go too crazy, but a nice liberal amount here on the spaces. And if you put too much, it's gonna end up flinging all over the place. So it's super crazy, obviously. And if for some reason this happens to get stuck, have ways to get it off, so not a big deal. But that's probably good enough there. And then we can go ahead and put our spacer on. So we're actually going to be putting the anti-seize on this as well as the spacer itself, so you do get it on your hands. So this is why I like to use gloves and have some paper towels around. So we're going to go like this, slide that right on there. Let's see here. I'm actually going to put a little bit right here as well, because you'll see that the contact points are right here on these little protrusions here that stick out. A little bit there, there. All right. Take our new spacer here, right on. Just like so. Line up your holes, and now I'm going to do a little bit right here on this ring as well, just so we don't get this stuck to the wheel as well. So I'm going to do a little bit right around the edge here. And again, this is the 12 mil in the back. I think it kind of evens out a little bit nicer if you do a smaller spacer in the back. All right, so now we're ready to put the wheel back on and get your extended lugs on as well. Okay. Go ahead and put this back on, lift it on into place. Just like so. Make sure it's pushed up against there. And then we can go ahead and take our new studs here and put these on. I like to thread it by hand first, just to get it going. Make sure that I'm not stripping anything with an impact. So you see, I'm not tightening them down, I'm just getting them started, basically. All right, so they're all started. We're gonna come back and torque these actually. All right. Just make sure you got it all the way on there. Actually, it looks like it is. Sweet. All right, so there's what it looks like with the spacer. You can see the Kies logo back in there. So 12 mil spacer. Obviously the car's still in the air, but I think this is gonna flush this out nicely. So it fits really nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and do the front here, and then I'll show you this whole side compared to the stock other side. All right guys, moment of truth here. I don't have these completely torqued down all the way to spec yet, but they are tight. And I'm gonna go ahead and lower this side of the car so we can move on to the other side. But here's what it should look like with spacers. Oh yeah, much more flush. That's way better. So just a comparison here, this is the driver's side that is still stock. Very sunken in here in the back, as you can see, versus the 12 mil spacer here in the back. Way better. Oh yeah, much more flush. And then show you guys the front. So the front is by far way worse sunken in on the stock versus 15 mil in the front. Sorry, the lighting's not great right now, but much more flush. Way better. I'll pull this out in the sun later and show you guys the final outcome, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the driver's side off camera since the process is the exact same. But this already looks 1,000,000% better than it did before. Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's how she looks with the Kies Motorsports wheel spacers. Again, we went with 12 millimeter rear, 15 millimeter front, and actually, just because I bought this car recently, haven't really had a chance to really play with it a ton, but taking the wheels off, I actually noticed that the car is lowered on H&R Sport Springs, so that's kind of cool. I guess I don't have to worry about that. I thought this was just factory PASM suspension, but everyone kept saying, man, it's really low, it's really low. Yep, sure enough, it's already lowered on lowering springs. So this is a good angle of what to expect with spacers. The front is way better now. I think my biggest complaint before with the stock, you know, how it was sitting stock, was the front so sunken in. Now it's much more flush. We could have gone more aggressive, I think, but this makes it pretty functional, I think. So there you go. I mean, look at that fitment right there in the rear. Really nice. Nice and flush. Again, I could have gone more aggressive probably. I could have done a 15 in the back. But Kies Motorsports actually did a video of testing different size spacers on the 992. And, you know, you can do different things. Most guys actually tend to do like 10s and 12s or something. And I figured, you know, with my typical stance, I like to do it a little bit more aggressive than most people do. And even then, I could go out a little bit more, to be honest, but it's actually pretty good. It's pretty flush right there. And, you know, the car is lower. It's got some natural camber, so it does camber in on the top a little bit, as you guys can see there. But the front is the biggest difference to me. I mean, look at that. Way better. Oh yeah. And these are the Pirelli tires here, so the P0s, which aren't super aggressive. They're not super squared off or anything. So I bet you if I put a Michelin or something on there, it would be a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, looks good.
Alright guys, so that just about does it for the install on the Kies Motorsports wheel spacers for the 992 Porsche here on the 911. And I'll have some pictures here at the very end of what it looks like outside of the garage and, you know, at a nicer location, just so you guys can get a better idea of what the car looks like outside of some video footage. So again, huge thanks to the guys over at Kies Motorsports, Brian and the team, for sending this over to me and making the 992 look that much better. I'm super excited to get my hands on this platform and really take it to the next level and kind of do my typical things to it. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please let me know in the comments below. Again, if you're looking for a set of these, I will have a link in the video description, so check that out. And yeah, stay tuned for more. A lot more content coming for not only this car, but also that car out there. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.